Still on the search of that one true love? On the limbo in this crazy world of dating, marriage, relationships? Well, listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything about relationships. Concepts Relationships Podcast. I'm your host, John Johnson. And this particular episode, I have titled Help with Your Dating Profile. And I'll tell you why. I have just this week was given a number of questions from somebody who had asked about setting up a dating profile and that they had actually had one, but it just wasn't generating the kind of interest that they felt it should. So we talked enough to try to give them some helpful tips and give that profile a tune-up. And they says, well, John, why don't you talk about that? So I said, you know what? I will. So I'm going to do that. But before I get there, I want to share one more thing. I am partnering with Care Of, and Care Of is a subscription service that will deliver vitamins and supplements which are customized to your specific health needs right to your door. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more, but I just wanted to give that information, a little shout out, and we'll also get you a 20% discount on your first order. So I'll talk about that some more in detail after the first segment. Now, diving into the profiles. So if you're not familiar, I'm just going to mention real quick what a profile is. It's just, it's like an advertisement. It's specific to putting your most likely you have a photograph or three in there. You talk about your interests, and somebody else will go to this particular website, whichever the website is. There's lots of them out there. People are familiar with them. There's some that are geared towards different ethnicities, some that are geared towards people who have a certain religious background. There's Match.com. There are lots of them out there. So, and I figure people have heard of, Match, so that's why I kind of tossed that out there. But there are lots of websites that have profiles on there, and specifically so that people can meet someone else. Now, if you have a profile, and maybe you've had some success with it, maybe not, I'm going to talk about a few things that may help give you a little more, maybe generate a little more interest. And if you've had people that have looked at your profile, but you just don't seem to have a great match, then maybe some of the tips that I give could probably give you a bit of a tune-up. But some of the things that I'll talk about is, having recent photos. Make for yourself, I think you want to have a list of your own desirable qualities. So when you're putting this thing together, you're able to make it flow. And I think thinking of it as it's like a resume. You're putting yourself out there. You're being vulnerable. You're sharing what your interests are, but you're putting out your best qualities, and you're looking to attract someone who has similar interests because you want to be with somebody. So if you're putting out a profile, it's presumed that you're actually looking for someone. You're looking to pair up. Now, maybe you want to pair up and just go have fun. So, you don't have to have lovers out of this. You could decide that you just want to meet up with people. And maybe you like to go to the park. Maybe you like to play Frisbee. Maybe, lots of maybes. So you want to be sure and understand what your reason is for having a profile. And I say it that way because a lot of people put profiles out there because they want to attract a mate of some type. They want a relationship. Do you want a relationship? If you do, then a lot of these websites, as the way they are designed, there's a bunch of click boxes. So they have a bunch of choices that you can make, and it makes it a lot easier for you to just click the box, and these choices will show up in your profile. So, for example, you can mark your height, you can mark your hair color, your eye color, you can mark whether you have kids, a lot of the generic things. Religion, you can mark whether you're conservative or liberal. See, a lot of those kinds of things. And you just click all those boxes, and all of those that apply to you will then show up on their website along with your photograph if you happen to upload one. And I encourage you to do that, because when you don't, you tend to get, the sort of, what's the whole point? They're going to click all these boxes, but they're not going to put a photograph in it. But further down in your profile, you're going to have the opportunity to put your bio, all the information, all the statistics about, maybe not statistics, but the information about yourself and what your interests are. And this is where the person is going to learn something about you and get an idea of if who they are would match who they are reading about. And they're reading about you. So I think it's important that you be as specific as you reasonably can, and knowing that you're trying to generate interest. I think you should put down the kind of things that really excite you. This way, when somebody's reading your profile and they find that they have the similarities, then you're going to find somebody who is exciting to you, not somebody that's going to bore you to death. So, for example, if you're into ice skating or skiing, or you love to hang out on the beach, you love to do the barbecue thing, or if you're into cars. And this is an interest that a lot of people have. Now, it's amazing. So I'm talking to the ladies here. Women, if you are interested in the car shows and things, and I've met a lot of women that are, put that in your profile, because there are lots of guys who really love to be able to share their knowledge or share their passion of cars and things like that with you. I mean, that if that's your interest and you want to partake in that, believe me, the guys would love to know that. If it's not your interest, then I wouldn't put it in there just to attract a guy, because you're going to be bored to death if that's not your thing. But this is an example of whatever you're interested in, put it in there, because you're going to find that men have very diverse interests as well. So if you have something that's a little off the beaten path, if you're into astronomy or horseback riding, and that's something you really have a passion for, put it in there. You might find that there's a guy out there who has a couple of horses, and he's looking for someone as a riding partner, and or somebody that loves the animals well enough to want to care for them. Because I can tell you, I've been around horses in my day, and they can be a lot of work, and it's nice to be able to share that passion with someone. So take it upon yourself to know something about you, and you have to sit down and really put some thought behind this, because you only have so many characters that you can fill on these profiles. So make it count so you can grasp somebody's interest right away. Because there's lots and lots of people who to choose from, and people are very selective. Sometimes it's the photograph that really grabs somebody's attention, and if you've got their attention, listing all the traits that you want in a person, as well as the attributes that you have that you think are interesting, might just do the trick. It might grab them and have them want to respond to you. So one word about the photographs, and this is a big one, and I can tell you from somebody who's looked at profiles, and I've done my share of looking just to see what works and what doesn't. You want photographs that really represent who you truly are. It's interesting to look at the throwback photos if you've had something when you were in high school or college or something like that. But if you are, let's say, 20 years past that. Don't think that you can float that photograph as being your current picture, because most people are not going to look the same way they looked 20 years ago. And that is perfectly okay, because you are who you are, and that's what you want to represent. Starting out that way, being honest up front about who you are, what you look like, is so much easier than putting up some old photograph that when somebody meets you, they have that disappointment, that letdown. I mean, you're going to see it. You're going to get it. Look, I'm going to take a break right now. I'm going to come back, and we'll work on this some more. Stay tuned. Hello there, listeners. This is John Johnson from the Golden State Media Concepts Relationships Podcast, and I have been partnering with Care Of. Now, Care Of is a subscription service that delivers vitamins and supplements which are customized to your specific health needs. You take a short quiz and you answer their questions about your diet, your lifestyle, your fitness and health goals, and Care Of will put together a personalized plan just for you. You can get back into a healthy routine this summer by making a health and wellness a priority again. So what Care Of does is they make it easy to upgrade your routine. Now, you give yourself support this season with a boost. Now, whether you're looking for energy, better sleep, to maintain your stress level, or something else to help you feel your healthiest, their online quiz lets you know exactly what you need, because they're going to ask you questions about your diet, your health goals, your lifestyle choices, and it takes only about 5 minutes to find out. Now, this is a scientifically backed vitamin and supplement recommendation. You answer the easy questions like how much sleep you're getting. Are you looking for more energy, or do you need something to help support your weight management? Do you want healthy hair, skin, nails, those kinds of things? Look, it really, really gets personalized. Now, the nice thing is it's easy and convenient. Sometimes it can be hard to know what vitamins or supplements you should be taking. Now, I personally have gone to the vitamin stores, and I'll tell you what, it's dizzying the number of choices you have. But Care Of makes it easy to find out what you specifically need. They deliver the daily vitamin and supplement packs, and they're all customized to your recommendations. So you're only taking what you really need. Now, depending on your personalized Care Of plan, you'll get daily vitamin packs and or protein powders sent right to your door. It's that customized. And the packets even say your name on them. Now, you can modify your subscription at any time when your needs or preferences change. So here's something else. I want you to experience the Care Of difference. Care Of makes sure that what you're putting into your body comes from the best sources, and they're backed by honest guidance and transparency, and it's all available to you on their website. See, Care Of now offers protein powders which are available in individual packets for on the go and in tubs, and is all personalized to your fitness goals and dietary preferences. The individually wrapped vitamin packets are now made from compostable plant-based film that meets the same safety standards, so your vitamins are kept fresh while now being better for the environment. Here's one more thing. Vegan and vegetarian supplement options are also available to match your dietary needs and to ensure you're getting the nutrients for those specific requirements. Now, remember when I was talking about taking the quiz? So I can tell you, I took the quiz myself because I had some goals that I wanted to work on, and the quiz was easy. It was a snap. Very straightforward questions, and I didn't have to worry about what vitamins I had to take because they make the recommendations. They have all that information for you. Remember I had said, you go into a vitamin store and there's just a dizzying array of choices. Well, Care Of made the selections for me. Now, one other thing that I had a challenge with is making sure that I took them every day. Well, they have already combined all of the vitamins that I need for each day in the packets. So it makes it really easy. I don't have to remember. I just look at it and I know which ones I'm taking every day because they have it set up for me. That's wonderful. It's easy. It's convenient. They were mailed right to my door. I have them. It's a system that works for me. I encourage you to try it. And one more thing here. If you go to their website, Take Care Of, that's TakeCareof.com, and in the promo code, I want you to put in the word relationship, RELATIONSHIP. Guess what? That's going to get you 20% off your first order. Remember, go to takecareof.com and in the promo code, enter relationship, and you're going to get 20% off. It's a wonderful deal. I encourage you to do that. It has worked for me. I think it will work for you.
The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast, the show that gives you advice on everything travel. We explore places you've always wanted to go, as well as giving tips for traveling in those places. We'll give you advice on the best sites for travel tips, information, and discounts. Join us as we travel the world, explore cultures, and meet new people. The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast has got you covered. Download the GSMC Travel Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Hello, and we're back. So we're talking about your dating profile and how to give it a little bit of a tune-up. So I've mentioned, getting a photograph that actually represent you, and photographs. And if you have photographs, be in the pictures. You don't have to have a lot of pictures of things that you are not in. You don't have to see pictures of mountains and trees and birds and flowers and things like that. You can talk about that in your profile, but at least put yourself in the photograph so we know who you are. And if you're in a photograph with other people, let's say you've taken a group shot, be specific as to which one you are in the photograph. Because I have seen this. You have a picture with a lot of people in it, and a lot of them looks very similar. So the person who's interested in you, because you've taken the time to write this profile with all your attributes and the things that you're looking for, it's really interesting. Now we're trying to figure out, okay, which person is it in this photograph? Okay, that can be a challenge. And it just shows that you're on top of things when you put down in the caption, I'm the one on the right, or the one on the left, or the one with the hat, or something. Be real specific. You can just a little short something, and it really helps people know which one you are. Now, something else to mention about profiles, and this is a small thing, but it's a big thing. Go on your profile and look at it, so you can see what other people are viewing. And I mean with a critical eye. Because here is something that happens all too often. Someone puts a photograph in their profile and it is so small you can't even see it. I'm not sure how you could overlook that, but it's just one of these sort of, it's like a proofreading sort of thing. I mean, read your bio, read everything that you put in it. You want to proofread it. And then also, again, look at your photographs. I'm repeating this. Look at your photograph. Know what people are looking at so that, remember, this is an advertisement for you. You want to put your best foot forward. You want people to be able to see that lovely smile you have. And if that picture is so small, even when they blow it up, that they can't see it, or it's, like I say, if they blow it up, expand it, it's so grainy they can't make out the features, then it just sort of it just ruins the experience, if you know what I mean. So that's a thought. And another one that I want to leave you with is wine tasting is great. A lot of people enjoy the ambiance of being out at wineries, and they're beautiful places, nice restaurants. It's a nice place to be seen. The photographs that you have of yourself in a winery are great, but you don't want the photograph that shows you intoxicated, because that's just not an image that you want to project out there. You want to show that you're an adult and that you have control. Make that plenty of self-control. So the image of being drunk in public is not one that's very complimentary to who you want to be seen as. So I think you get the idea about pictures. Look, I'm going to pivot back to something that I was talking about, which would go into the body of your profile, and that has to do with your attributes. I mentioned about saying that if you're interested in the cars or horses, or you like zip lining, or like going on vacations, you want to travel somewhere, those kinds of things, those are great things to put in your profile, because it shows that you have aspirations. It shows that you have interests. And these are the kind of things that pull people towards you. It makes you seem charismatic. And that's always going to grab somebody's attention. That's why you want to put those things in there. And now be sure that that's who you are. And it's nice to have dreams to want to do things. And if you're looking for a partner to share the experience with, again, put that kind of information in there, because those kinds of things are positive and uplifting. And I'm looking at the time. I need to take a short break here, play a couple of commercials from the sponsors, and we'll come back and talk about this some more. Stay tuned.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America's Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar. GSMC Beauty Tips Podcast gives you advice on everything from hair to fashion to skincare products. We'll talk about the latest trends in makeup, hairstyles, and anti-aging remedies. And we'll cover all of the newest fashion trends. If you have an interest in or questions about the beauty trends that might work best for you, the Golden State Media Concepts Beauty Tips Podcast has got you covered. Download the GSMC Beauty Tips Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
And we're back. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Relationships Podcast. And I'm John Johnson, talking about helping you with your dating profile. So here's something that I think we should all think about when you're just talking about yourself in general. And if you're trying to attract someone, you want to keep it positive. And now here's something that I've seen people do, women in particular, when they're writing their profile. When you talk about your history, it's interesting to talk about some of the things you've done. You know, you've traveled to certain places and you like to go to more places because you love traveling. That's great. When you talk about your past relationships, now there's room in the profile to click whether you're divorced or separated, or never married, those kind of things. That's about the extent of it. You don't want to go any further than that. Because if you get down into the body of your profile and you start writing things about, well, I don't want any men who are cheaters or things like that, that tends to go negative. Of course you don't want guys who are cheaters. That's a given. You don't have to say that in a profile. Because when you do, what it makes it seem like is that you have issues that you need to work on. And maybe one of those is your selection process. I think we've all have had experiences in relationships or with people that didn't turn out to be who we thought they should be. And, you know, we grow through those experiences and learn to sharpen our selection process so that when we come into the experience of meeting a new person, then we're better judge of character. But when you use your profile as a blog, so to speak, meaning that you start putting down all of these negative experiences and things that you've had happen, you're not going to generate any interest. I think most guys are going to see that, or if it's guys who are writing profiles about women that they might be interested in. Either way, when somebody looks at that, they're going to say, wow, this person has got issues. And you're not going to generate a lot of interest, or probably not the kind of interest that is going to have some longevity. You might get some people who are curious. They might even be curious about, well, what happened to you? But as far as really finding those individuals who could be out there for a long-term relationship, so to speak, and I'm grasping at words here because when I look at profiles from women who have written down their whole history of bad experiences, my thing is like, well, what's the point? That's something for your diary, not for your dating profile. Because again, you have to keep this positive. You got to make people interested in you. See, the interest, the charisma, that's where that is. Because if you're putting all of that negative stuff into your profile, it just turns people off. In some aspect, it really seems like you're a fixer-upper. And we all know what projects are like. And I was just speaking to someone just yesterday about projects, and that's the last thing they want. They don't want a project. They don't want a fixer-upper. So don't do that in your profile. Because if you're not getting any interest, like I said, you probably put a lot of negative stuff in there. So edit it and resubmit it and see if you get more attention. Now, something else I want to mention about profiles and the companies that do these. A lot of them have lots of different websites. They come under lots of different titles. So them being sister websites, let me just say it that way, they share the information back and forth. So you may not intend for your profile to be on a different website, but unless you have read somewhere in the fine print that they might share your information and you either can opt in or opt out, you may find that your picture or something is still out there, even though you have decided to, let's say, change your status. Maybe you have found somebody that you're interested in. Now, when your profile is out there, there are thousands and thousands of people that are potential to have seen this. So just know you are in the public eye, at least for a short period of time, intentionally, anyway. You may get recognized on the street by someone. There's that look of I recognize you. I hope you're comfortable with that, because that's just one of the things that happens. I mean, it's one thing when you select on someone and you say, hey, I want to meet you for coffee or at a restaurant or something like that. But, there are thousands of other profiles that are out there and people are looking. There are a lot of people that do window shopping, as I say. And you may get recognized. If you're not comfortable with something like that, then don't put out a profile. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a profile. But if you're not comfortable with being recognized in a public way, then having a dating profile is not something for you to do. Because these things seem to take on a life of their own. And they could be out there for months and maybe possibly even years longer than you intended for them to. And I don't know what the life cycle of these profiles are. Even if you erase it from the website that you are connected to, if you don't specifically say you do not want your information shared on another website, it's probably on another website somewhere. Now, the whole idea of these sister websites is they generate more money because they may charge you more in order to be able to pick up the information from somebody who might be interested in you if they're on another website. You see, so that's how they make money. That also puts you out there, and there's potentially more people who you could contact. So, see, that's the balance. There's more people that might see your picture. There's more people that might have an opportunity to meet you. But when all of this stuff is over and done, what happens to your information? Well, it's out there in cyberspace, and it's floating around for who knows how long. So think about that. If you haven't before, think about that. If you've never put out a personal profile, just know that that's just one of the things that comes with it. For some people, it's no big deal. There's millions and millions of people that have profiles. I mean, who's going to see you? And you're not really going to care about it. But if you're particularly sensitive to that, I just thought I'd bring that up because I had a conversation with someone who took their profile down, a couple years ago, and somehow they say somehow, I mean, I know how it happened, but their picture is still out there and they're still getting interest. But it was noticed in a public way, and somebody walked up to them in public, you see. So that's why I mentioned that. You may draw some interest. And if you happen to be with someone, hopefully they're not, too concerned about the fact that, hey, they met you the same way, so no big deal. But just so you know. Hey, my time is about up. I've been talking about dating profiles and how to tune yours up a bit, some expectations you might want to have, some things to consider in your bio as you're writing about yourself. Like I say, keep it positive. Keep the photographs interesting. Make sure that they can see you. And you don't have to put a lot of photographs in there, but it's nice that you put photographs that truly represent you, because that's the expectation. When you see a picture of somebody, I'm sure that you want to know what they look like, and that's the expectation. They want to know what you look like. So give a true, accurate representation, and in the body of your profile, there's usually going to be a lot of click boxes, so you can click your preferences, if you're your political preference, are you liberal, are you conservative, your hair color of your eyes, if you have kids, if you're interested in kids, or don't want kids. There's various websites for different age ranges too. So that's something else to be mindful of. There's something for everybody, and I just want you to find something and someone for you. I'm John Johnson. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Relationships Podcast. Thank you for listening.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.